Hello and welcome to Monday Musings. Back to a little bit of basics today. We're doing a lot of interviews lately. We're supposed to have one today, but unfortunately, big new release. I think everyone wants to talk about that and see what we've got. We've got some exclusive looks over in the corner here, and also this week's been chaos busy, so we haven't been able to actually sort anything out about questions and what we want to do with Gabriel. So we thought, rather than rush Gabriel, obviously author of Black Seas, Helped on Cruel Seas, naval expert. We thought rather than rush his interview, we would do it right, and we're rescheduling him for the 10th. So tonight we talk about Island Assault. I've waffled enough. Marcus, introduce yourself.
Hey, if you don't know me by now, you're very, very lucky. But yeah, like Max said, obviously, kind of last minute change of plans. So we're kicking it old school today. Kind of nice to be back in the room. Face to face with appropriate social distancing. And yeah, obviously, bit of not a shocker for us, but a shocker for some people. Island Assault dropped today, was announced today, which is going to be our new bolt action starter set. Important kind of definition.
Starter set.
Important definition there. It doesn't replace Band of Brothers. This is just kind of, if you don't really fancy the Northwest Europe theatre and you want to do Pacific, cool. Now we're going to have a Pacific starter set, and that ties in really nicely. Because 2020 was meant to be the year of a lot of things, to be honest. But 2020 at Warlord was meant to be our year of the Pacific. Mm-hmm. So we had, obviously, Victory at Sea.
Yeah. That was the big one. That was supposed to be the wave, a trendsetter kind of thing.
Obviously, there was the plan, eventually, we announced that we were going to do some stuff with Blood Red Skies for that as well. And obviously, that's still delayed, things like that. And we were going to plan to do some bolt action stuff. I think we first heard about this about late 2019.
Yeah, we have roughly quarterly meetings, and I think this was kind of first outlined around this time last year. Well, it would have been early March kind of thing, just before the pandemic kind of properly started in the UK. So it was, hey, that'll be in a couple months' time, and now here we are, about roughly where it was supposed to be this time last year.
But
that's,
and it is now announced.
Getting stuff out.
It's very cool, and there's some new Japanese models as well, aren't there?
Yes, so as some new old Americans as well, and there's some repacks for the support groups that's been announced this week. So yeah, loads to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit of our own experience with the Pacific theatre. There we go. I wanted to say era, but I'm like, no.
It's a place, not a time.
I've been doing a lot of Napoleonics painting lately, so I've been thinking in my head like eras and like long time ago.
Max, if you can't tell, Max did not take geography at A-levels.
Or history.
Hang on a minute, why are you here? No, but
very good at painting and very good at talking, apparently.
There is a ton of cool stuff that we've got to discuss. Obviously, we might have a little bit of time as well to do some hobby corner, which we've not done forever.
Yeah, so the plan was we're trying to move to more often game stream, non-game stream every week kind of thing. I see Mike saying that he's got a freeze. If anyone else in chat has frozen, please say, we'll have a look. But it all seems to be running on my end.
I've just gotten really good at musical statues.
Cool, lots of people are saying it's fine. Possibly localized issue there. Where was I? This is the worst part of the chain of thought streams. This is the worst bit. And we got probably the chat's going to be talking, but I didn't get that on the real time.
No, I can't remember for the life of me. Cannot remember what you were saying. Obviously, we had kind of talked about how we were trying to move to a plan more of game stream, non-game stream, but a bit more focused than the old chats we used to do.
Yeah, so we wanted to get more guests on. Moving forward, I think we're going to do less just guest streams. Have like half an hour. We got someone else on as well. Unless there's someone very big or they've got a new release to talk about, for example. But that's for the future. So yeah, we're going a bit back to normal. So Hobby Corner will be back as like a bi-monthly sort of thing.
Yeah.
Along with all the other mainstays. And it's just a good chance to look at the new release as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Lots of fun stuff coming out lately. Oh, and hello to everyone in chat.
Yes.
Because of our setup at the moment, Marcus is on the other side of the laptop. So he can't actually see the screen and the chat.
No.
So I can. So hello to everyone. I see a lot of people saying hi. I'm just going to have a quick check for any questions.
Well, it's quite funny actually with the way we're set up, because if you're looking at Max's screen or Max's feed, you'll see behind him we've got all the World War II posters. Right now,
all of them.
Right now, that Winston Churchill is making kind of perfect eye contact with me.
This one.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do this, by the way, when you're in reverse.
That one.
I think my favourite's actually behind my head. I'm going to do a zoom in on that.
Put out your paper, metal, and bones.
I just really like the grandma on this one because...
Hench grandma.
Yeah, she's been working out lately. She's my favourite grandma in the artwork.
Wow.
In artwork,
Desperately having to backtrack there.
I love my gran. So first question in the chat. So yeah, hi to everyone.
Yes,
nice
hello.
to see you guys all in. So this is from Intelligent Mr. Toad, good friend of ours.
Hello, Mr.
Toad. So hi Marcus Max, how do the bunker and spider trap holes work in the game? So we've actually... Let's get on to those.
Yes.
We've actually got the studio examples here. Now, Marcus, if you want to take a spare one.
I don't know if I'm allowed to touch these.
Yeah. So these are painted up by the studio, looking all very nice. So you get 3 in this set.
They are just super simple and super cool little
Yeah,
kit.
so these are all made in resin. If you've used any of our resin kits before, you'll be completely aware of the medium. And I'll actually bring up now some of the nicer photos we've got.
Studio did such a good... For something that's really simple, it's some wood and some grass.
Yeah.
Studio have just done a really nice job of making them look pucker. I mean, as you'd expect them to, that is the studio. But yeah, no, really cool.
Images.
Obviously, so to kind of talk about these as well, these are going to be exclusive-ish to the box for now, as far as we can tell.
I've seen a couple people asking about
As
this.
far as we can tell, they're only going to be in the Island Assault box. With that being said, if there's something, anything really, from any of our ranges that's not kind of available on its own, or it's only available as part of a big set, and you really want that 1 or 2 things, give us a call in customer service, drop us an email, drop us a line.
You'd be amazed at the things we can do.
There's very little we can't sort out, and normally if we can't sort it out immediately, or we're too busy, we'll say, hey, come back in X amount of time, and we'll see what we can sort for you. It's this industry, nobody throws anything away, really.
But so yeah, that's the new ones. Like I say, very cool. Coming out in resin, 3 pieces.
Yes.
That's one of the things I actually like compared to Band of Brothers. It's both really good value sets, but the Band of Brothers, you get 1 less squad effectively.
Yeah.
I think it's 12 Germans in the Hanomag versus 24 US. Obviously, they both get vehicles this time. I think they both only count as armoured characters because the Chi-Ha is pretty weak. I don't even think it counts as a...
I've got armies of Japan right now. We came prepared.
What they've not done is they've not put in a... I think it's the Ruined Farmhouse set.
Yeah.
So that used to take up some space in the box. And obviously that's super valuable, but I think just for pure beginners, people who are either just getting into bolt action or the hobby at large kind of thing, I think having a... less terrain, more models.
Yeah.
Most people are going to appreciate that. Because, if you're playing down a club or something like that,
absolutely.
They've got terrain already, just use theirs, here's some more models. But, in case you do want something, and, to theme up a board, let's say you've just got a grass mat. A lot of people just have those, Marcus. You've got one right behind you there. If you've got something like that that's super generic, even if it's the train mats, you roll them out, put some stuff down. Really basic. A couple of these done, and suddenly it starts to feel more... Island Assault-y kind of thing. Even if it's not perfect, it's a step in the right direction, and you get plenty of models to play with.
Well, it's interesting as well. Our boss, Lorenzo, he has done... When we kind of first knew that Island Assault was coming, and when Marianas and Palau just came out, our boss, Lorenzo, sat down and did an absolute ton of scenery work, just scratch building. Jungle terrain and jungle defences from the Marianas and Palau book. And, he found it really easy to do. And I actually think, I'm not normally a terrain guy. To be perfectly honest, terrain bores me to tears. I helped out a little bit on some of the painting and stuff on the
Because you grew up in Lincolnshire, it was also flat.
Yeah.
Kind of, you're like, who needs hills?
Yeah, hills aren't realistic. I just get bored painting terrain a lot of the time, But with the Island Assault, it's that really nice mix of your stands of trees, which are super easy to make. And then
I think the ones we've got here, I'm not going to bother getting them, they're a bit buried. They were made out of aquarium plants
trees
kind of thing and stuff like that, with gerbil
sand,
basic material with a bit of flock on top. I think whoever was buying the stuff was clearly needing to go for pets at home anyway, and was just like, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here.
Don't do that; they'll kick you out of Pets at Home. No, it's actually I quite like the ragtag.
Make another joke like that, and we'll mute your mic.
That's what they come here for, Max. They don't come here for the good content and the informative product reveals. They come here for my awful jokes. Yeah. But no, it's actually I find it a lot more inspiring to do terrain for the sort of the jungle than I do for things like Northwest Europe or, God forbid, the desert. Just because
you don't find the desert fun?
No.
It's flat.
Exactly.
I thought you liked that kind of thing.
Yeah, but your basing for a desert board consists of cut some foam board hills out and then just dump a beach over the top of it.
Very easy. It's very fun. Dad built one over just before Christmas.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was
really nice.
Cool. Well, I think there's the thing. Obviously, we're already off topic. That's why we stopped doing these.
That's why you come. That's why the good people who watch us come and watch us.
Yeah. So I think it's the little details that bring it to life. So what he did is he needed some rough terrain. So we got the MDF mats kind of in little shapes, and he got the battlefield accessories, the
resin
£15 one,
the plastic sprue,
one, old Italieri kit, and it was little things like instead of just having his trees, his rocks, his hill, he went a bit to town with it. So it was sets of telegraph poles. Yeah, some of them had been knocked down, and that was your cover. And he used rigging thread to actually set up the electrical lines. So it's kind of taking that idea of super basic scenery stuff. Of rough terrain can be as simple as here's some rocks on a base that was already flat terrain, and I think a lot of people that's what they find the joy in, because obviously I'm not going to go into it because it's not Warlord stuff, but I'm working on a ton of terrain at the moment, and the big stuff's boring as hell.
I've been getting regular
a lot
updates.
Of MDF work at the moment. But these big MDF kits, they're not actually the most exciting things to build. No. But when you're finished, you go back and go, right, now let's add the details.
Accessorize.
You kind of go, I'm going to add a little flag here because before it got destroyed, it was probably owned by someone, and I'm going to put a person in there. Yeah. And I'm going to hide a skeleton in the graveyard to make it look like there's been a necromancer, and you can probably guess what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely, and I think that's what I like with the jungle as well. I mean, I remember to go
tons of details.
To go very off topic here. Back when I first got started doing wargaming, which was Evil Empire's 4th Ed 40k, they had a big section in the back.
Alessio's second best game.
A big section in the back about booby traps and minefields and making your own, and they were all really creative and inspired, and I always liked playing around with that, and the jungle's just so perfect for that, because you can do that. Is that a bush? Or is there a sniper in there? Is that a pungy stick trap?
Lorenzo made was dummy people. The idea is you'd like have a guy, and then people would shoot at that instead of going at it. And then there was something about they'd like booby trap them, so you'd actually go in. Hey, is that guy wounded? Pick him up, get him, bang, kind of thing. Nasty stuff, but for a war game scenario, never think too hard on the actual realities of war, or you make yourself sad, kind of thing.
The other thing that
they're fun scenarios.
The other thing that's perfect for is things like Firefight, because you've got that small platoon of like Marine Raiders, or Japanese SNLF or Japanese Army, or your Japanese Paras now.
Oh yeah, got pictures of those. I'll bring up in a bit. Patrolling through the jungle, and it's small fire teams running into each other. It's super cramped and close quarters. People think of fighting in a city as the obvious close quarter battle. Everyone forgets fighting in a jungle. You're basically as hemmed in. Because a lot of the time the jungle's that impenetrable, it's that dark, it's that overhead cover. There's not even a road. At least, Stalingrad had roads to start with that you can theoretically fight your way through. A jungle, a lot of the time your road is your guys at the front with a machete.
Yeah, you're making the road.
And the whole time there might be some guys on the enemy side who've already done that an hour ago, who are already up in ambush. At which point, the second you blunder into their road, pew, 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 oh god, we're running away. Yeah. It's dark because the canopy's over us. Where are they? I can't see them, and it all gets a little bit Vietnam movie.
Oh, god, yeah. I mean, I was...
I'm actually going to go back to the question, however, because it comes back to...
Michael's question,
So while this has been going on, I've been having a look through. So Marianus and Palau, I think there's another one in Empire and Flames we've got out there, but I'm not going to check through both. So these littler ones... these can be used for Japanese spider holes on page 147 of this book. So I'm going to go through these ones. These are represented in bolt action with the following rules. Dug in Japanese infantry units and teams that use advance orders at the end of their movement within 12 inches of a Japanese bunker retain their dug-in status. So you kind of thread these out, and it kind of almost adds a trench network throughout the game to represent that they're moving through And, you might represent it with one of these, but in reality, there's tons of them everywhere.
Because Duggin's basically a down as well.
Down plus.
It's like, yeah, my point being, it's Duggin gives you that, was it -2 to hit on Duggin?
Yeah.
So that's suddenly, wow, your army is manoeuvring and potentially shooting on the advances as well.
Oh, yeah.
While being down.
Yeah.
That's huge. And if you need to go down as well.
And I think a lot of those will be for like scenario play specifically, because
gotcha.
that's a big advantage for the Japanese. But a lot of the time in the battles that were going on during this campaign, it was quite significantly outnumbered Japanese forces, at least localized forces kind of thing. At which point they were kind of surviving just because they had these, quite frankly, incredible networks. A lot of the time, like into the backs of mountains, so it wasn't that easy to target and stuff like that. And there's also in the back, further in the book, on page 150, there is actual fortifications. So if you want to do a more balanced game, but still use them. And again, these are more designed for scenario play primarily. But if you want to have, make your own scenarios and stuff like that, you've got trench sections, weapon pits. Again, this one you could use as a weapons pit because he's got the rifle sticking out the front.
It's really,
stuff like that.
Super character.
I'd use this as a sniper.
I mean, see, what I'd be tempted for is the lone machine gunner.
Yeah.
The lone sniper. And all I do is shave that rifle down and put a Type 99, I think it's Type 99, or Type 96, I forget which, but put a machine gun barrel.
The different Bren gun.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people
It was
those.
a ZB-20.
Yeah,
ZB-28 or
I think they started it,
ZB-30.
and Nambu got a hold of it and went, we can do this but better, and then they kind of fixed it to
Wasn't a bad little gun.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a bayonet.
Of course, yeah.
Bayonet.
For example, the weapons pit there, 25 points if you're using it in non-scenario or make your own scenario. A hardcover obstacle large enough to hold a weapon team and its crew or a small unit. At which point, that little machine gun, even if it's a whole machine gun team, that's way harder to take out all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
Still not sniper-proof, but we talked about that last stream.
Nothing sniper-proof.
You've also got log bunker, decoy log bunker, which is cool. Gives you a bit of mind games going on. And tunnel network, which is basically this plus kind of thing. So loads of stuff you can use there. And they've got some rules that came back that have been printed in other books. Mud, monsoon, minefields, dummy minefields.
And I would 100% say that if you're going to pick up Island Assault as a starter army, as a starter force, or starter, box for you and a mate, I'd say it's absolutely perfect, to be looking at that. Play your basic games of bolt action just out of the rulebook, maybe.
Yeah.
Then obviously you pick up your armies of the USA, your armies of Japan, and then you dive in on Marianas and Palau.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't really even need immediately to buy more models. Obviously we want you to, and we think you will want to, but you don't immediately need to buy more models. But because you've suddenly got all these scenarios and these special rules that are super easy to do and represent, that just give you that extra depth to the game, even though you're using the same models.
Yeah, so I'm about to bring up the image for chat, so we know what's going on.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's what you actually get in the new box. Enlarge that just a little bit.
Pretend that I can see it.
Yeah, we already know what goes on.
Yeah.
Apparently cropped this one already. Weird. So you get 24 Marines, 24 Japanese infantry, the Chiha, and the M3. So that's about a 500 point on each side. So, give or take.
Yeah.
Call it regulars, 10-man regular squads, about 150 points if you kit it out. There's a lot of SMGs, BARs, the Nambus and stuff like that. So you can upgrade them a little bit, run them as vets if you want to as well. You can make command teams out of that and stuff like that as well. I see the Americans are pre-installed with a bazooka. So if it was me making it, I don't know if there's going to be a recommended. I've not actually seen the booklet yet.
No, but, I assume there will be, much like there is for Band of Brothers, you know. It's going to be, so that's an important thing to say, this is a starter set, very much like Band of Brothers. I don't know whether it's going to include order dice, does it, Sweep?
Yep, order dice.
I've not seen the
dice
full
dice.
list.
You get a sprue of your pins and you get your templates. So this is a get up and go.
Absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, people have asked about the price. We don't know the specific price yet, to be perfectly honest with you. We just don't. It's going to be comparable in price to Band of Brothers. It's going to be in that same price range because that's what it's designed for, Really convenient for two guys, if you've got a mate.
You really got to know, you got to hold out to the 28th. That's when it goes on pre-order. So,
not long.
We'll know there.
It's kind of really convenient for two people to split if you want to. Also, if you want to pick it up by yourself and have a start for each, golden.
Yeah. Or if you wanted to start a new theatre.
Yeah.
Like me and Marcus, obviously, I'm big on my Soviets. You play your Germans, kind of thing.
Yeah.
With the, I'm actually just going to slightly change your camera because they can see me at the moment.
They can see too much of me.
That actually looks really good as a framing. I'm happy with that.
That's great. It's just pointing over that shoulder.
But you know, with this, you could start a whole new theatre kind of thing. Like I do Soviets, you do Germans. We could pick this up.
I think we both false started as well, haven't we?
On what?
On the Pacific Theatre. We both kicked the tyres. We've both kind of gone, oh, I could.
Okay, so Spindle's asking, is the bazooka plastic? So I kind of wanted to break down a little bit of what I'd recommend you make out of this.
Yep.
So everything is made out of plastic sprues here.
Just with the exception of resin tokens.
Except for these, the resin tokens, so you got a little bit of the terrain. So the bazooka's made out of the plastic kit. You can also make your officer out of that. So what I do is 2 squads of, this is for the US side,
yep.
I'll go over the Japanese in a moment. 2 squads of 10, give them a BAR, give them a couple SMGs and some shotguns, you know, spice to taste kind of thing. And then officer, make him with the coolest parts, and orderly, and then your bazooka team. They've got parts to make that in there already. And with the Japanese, if you want to do that one, so again, 24 guys.
24 Japanese, to be perfectly honest, I would be looking at an officer team. 3 lunge mine teams, because I'm that guy. And the rest...
I think for beginner games, officer, orderly...
And one lunge mine team, because they've got that armoured car in there, or the half-track in there.
And more importantly, it's a dice.
And it is a dice. And then literally, I wouldn't fuss too much about special teams other than that. If you want a sniper instead of, for example, an anti-tank mine team, you could probably do that in there. I think there's some scope.
So. Actually, I'd probably go for a sniper over. I think that adds a little bit more to the game, considering what you've got.
Very much, again, the rest, couple of infantry squads, and then you've got your Chiha, which is a light tank. I checked.
It is a light tank. Okay,
A+.
That's why you need a bazooka.
Yeah.
Whereas that'd be pretty unfair, to be honest. But
so, yeah, it's nice in the same way that Band of Brothers isn't really very balanced. Not hugely.
Band of Brothers played it.
Band of Brothers is thematically balanced, is what I would say. But you know, Band of Brothers, the Germans, you know, you're meant to run it as regulars versus veterans, that kind of thing. It can go either way, but it tends to go Americans a little bit more often. With this is much more balanced, I think, to having not necessarily like a pure competitive game, but a game where either side, you've got options with how you want to build them because you've got enough bodies. You know, there's plenty of lists out there that don't have really many more than 24 bodies in them.
At 1,000 points.
At 1,000 points, yeah. And this is, you know, about a 500.
Yeah.
But for new players, to be honest, I'd say don't sweat your points initially.
No.
Make what you want to make.
Like I say, if it was me for the Japanese, it'd be 2 squads 10, you know, SMG for the sergeant, LMG for someone in the squad, and then a sniper team and your officer team.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bother with the
I'd be tempted with the lunge mines because they're so thematic. And they're really cheap dice. And you know,
you're not playing for
that. If you're going to start, you've got to prod them in the right direction of Banzai charging everything to death as soon as possible.
So Spindles is asking the banner. So the Japanese infantry kit, the same thing that you can make the lunge mine out. It's a big pole. We call it the curtain pole. You can either put the paper banner on, which would be included. You know, classic PVA it up, fold it around, and then just bend it to shape kind of thing. Classic. And with the other one,
they also have the rifle banners as well. There's a banner sheet included with the Japanese infantry, which does your big banner, which can, as Max says, can either be the banner or the lunge mine, or both if you fancy being really baller. And you can do your rifle banners, so you can go for a full out Banzai kind of last ditch look if you wanted to as well. Really, really cool kit. It's got the sword as well.
That's how you know your officers.
Yeah, if you're playing Japanese and your officer doesn't have a sword, you've got to be done.
Speaking of Japanese officers, should we talk about the support groups a little bit?
Yeah, why not?
Not the most exciting thing in the world, but if you're starting a Japanese army, so if you buy that kit, for example, so the starter set, not kit. So if you bought that one, getting the support kit after, I'm just loading up the image now, perfect way to get the force. That gets you your MMG team, which is pretty useful, depending on who you're playing. You also get your mortar and your command group, so you've got a couple different officer bodies in there. You've got a medic and a model that can either be used as an orderly or a forward operating unit.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well is you get, just double check, You can potentially have your Kempeitai political officer.
Yes, I think he's actually in there. Now
Yeah, I think they get one of the supports is a Kempeitai guy.
Mm-hmm.
One's a medic. Got your food team if you want to run a food team. Which in the islands can be quite gnarly because that's either carrier aircraft, potentially main caliber battleship, or even cruiser or destroyer gunnery.
Yeah,
It's more important than people might think. People think, oh, there was artillery there, but there wasn't an enormous. It wasn't the wheel-to-wheel 25-pounders of the northwest Europe.
I just quickly want to go back to a question that I saw someone asking ages ago in the chat. We missed it, but I kind of remembered it. I believe it might have been Haggard asking it. What about the British in the East? So this isn't really useful for that. Obviously, you want Japanese, and you'll get a lot of models to start off with. Is it called Road to Burma? There's one about the Burmese campaign, but I can't remember its title, unfortunately. I want to say Road to Burma. Again, it's not Road to Berlin.
It's not Road to Burma.
It might actually be Campaign Burma, to be honest.
Yeah, it's Burma. I think it's Burma, or it's. No, I'm going to throw my hands up there. I honestly cannot remember. We have got too many campaign books officially now for me to remember all the names of them. And that is how you know that you've got a lot of campaign books.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's something that focuses on...
There is one that focuses on China, Burma, India, CBI theatre.
Yeah.
This is very US Pacific war focused. This is very much...
it is the island hopping campaign. It's late war. It's when it's all getting a bit desperate and unpleasant.
Yeah, this is those classic images. This is the
we've already done Band of Brothers now.
No,
we've done
the Pacific.
Not a sponsor. Please don't sue. But yeah, Empire in Flames apparently has it. I don't know. I thought there was one specific.
I've got Empire in Flames there as well, but
I don't know. I haven't played it. I know I love the Chindit models.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to do an army one day.
They are great models.
So Lab's asking, are these new sculpts in the box? I think that was when we had the images up. So they are in the support box. They're sold separately. So you get all plastics in one. I believe the support's all in metal. Plastic basis.
And they're not new sculpts. The supports are a Reeboks.
The usual differences with the supports, I'm going to bring up the US one while we're here. So this is the Marines one. And with that, take a look at some actual newish releases. So this one again, I think the only difference is these are all one-part metal figures. So there's no separate head system with these.
No.
So you pay a little bit less to get them all as a set. You also get exactly everything you need. And like I say, these are great jump-off points. Again, this comes from your medics. 2 medics, actually. Officer and forward operating unit. And a Browning 1917 water gun, which is cool. Something a bit different.
It was basically that was Browning's Vickers, wasn't it?
Basically, yeah. It's old World War One vintage. Never really saw much use, but the Marines famously got the second picks, basically. I don't know my history on the Marines too well, so maybe someone will correct me. But as far as I'm aware, they generally got the second pick after the army.
They also had a reputation for kind of hanging on to old equipment because they liked it.
But I love that we chose that because
it's iconic.
Thematic as well. Because I think John Basilone, when he did his famous thing, he had a 1917, not a Browning 30 cal.
Yes, I believe so. I mean, there was also...
1990.
We've modelled Gunny Basilone.
Yeah.
With a water-cooled machine. I don't know whether it's 17 or 19.
If it was water cooled, it'd be a 17.
Yes, because the 19's the
air cooled stab barrel that was in service forever.
Yes,
like its brother, the M50.
Yes, but no, the Marines as well have a whole thing with their tanks being absolutely useless for the longest. Like, they were on Marmon Harringtons, and they weren't good.
They were cursed with Marmon.
They weren't good Marmon Harringtons. But no, I mean, even now, the Marines, for example, Marine Aviation, they're still flying AV-8Bs, the old Harriers. They're still flying Cobras. But they're a super. They call them the Viper now, I think, but it's a super modified Cobra. But the Cobra's a Vietnam era helicopter. Marines are still bombing around quite happily in those. They're very much that aesthetic of, well, it works. Crack on. I think we've still got the Legacy Hornets as well.
There we go. We've got Citizen NG in the chat there saying they use Springfields up to a certain point because they valued the accuracy and march. Absolutely. They held on to all that kind of thing. And the American forces in general held marksmanship to an unusually high standard. Like, obviously, anybody who's in the that kind of situation wants to be able to shoot straight, but the Americans always had a crazy focus on
the Marines especially. Every Marine a rifleman kind of job.
Yeah.
And the whole Camp Perry match.
And I think we got quite a few. I think we got at least one set of arms with Springers on the plastic set, which is interesting.
Plenty of shotties as well, because we can always start that argument again.
They look cool.
They look cool. Exactly. Everyone's like, oh, just give them pistols. Nah, shotguns are way cooler.
SMGs, but yeah. I'm just checking if there's anything in chat.
But no, I've always found the Marines actually to be a really iconic force. You know, you like the Chindits, and you'd love to, wander a Chindit army at some point.
I wouldn't mind doing a USMC army.
If I was going to do a US army, like I don't know if I will do a US army. It's one of those where it's kind of bumbling around in my head, and I'm like, I could do it at some point. Most likely, I'm going to paint more Panzer IVs. But I would.
Why would you possibly do that?
Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's a feature.
Not a bug, I swear. No, the US Marines, the frog skin camo. It's the cut-off sleeves. It's that rough and ready aesthetic, and all the tales of genuine heroism, yes, but also just grit. Fighting in some of the most unpleasant conditions of the war that were differently unpleasant. Every theatre of war is horrible to be in because you're in a war. I imagine there's very few air-conditioned wars unless you're a drone pilot. But it's that all those tales that, again, like in the Pacific, really capture the imagination. And that I find you've got to have the imagination captured to want to make them in miniature, especially if I'm doing another camouflage army.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because I think USMC are cool. So I was originally, about last year, quite early on, I decided I want to do another force. I'm really heavily leaning towards the US Marine Corps.
Yeah.
What actually changed it is we had a sale on Wargames Illustrated back issues, and there was one with the USGI force. And I was also kind of thinking maybe doing Tunisia and sprues for £1 have a way of twisting your arm kind of thing. So I ended up doing them. Don't regret it at all. It's a cool force, and it's a bit of a niche force. Not many people do the Tunisian campaign.
Yeah.
But maybe one day I'll come back to the US. US Marines, because there's some really nice sculpts, and they are. They're so iconic.
No, ironically, I've actually got a Japanese force somewhere. No, it was one of
Buried
those
in the old office.
Yeah, well, it was one of those where I started that right in the middle of the run up to tournament season, like the last full tournament season we had, which was my first tournament season with the company. And what I hadn't really prepared for was just how much stuff I was going to need.
Yeah.
So, I'm thrashing out my German army, kind of up to about 4,000 points of Germans at that point. And I was just I needed a break from Germans.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, whenever I can, I try and paint in store because we've got really nice lighting in there. It's got aircon. There's a surround.
Not long before we'll be getting people back. There's a couple people painting in there, staff kind of thing who already work there. Which is a weird sight after so long of it not being
bizarro.
There.
I mean, I'll try and paint in store. So I was painting some Germans in store, and I just kind of went, you know what? I need to take a break, but I'm still in the mood to do some hobby. I don't, just want to take a break, go and walk around the car park, go to the shops kind of thing. It was, I want to just take a break from Germans.
A palate cleanser.
Exactly.
That's what I always call it.
So I ended up, I was in store, I think it was Big Dave, had just started.
Shout out Big Dave.
Yeah, gotta love Big Dave. He just started, and got chatting, and he managed to sell me.
Well, he's big on his K-47 stuff.
Yeah, he managed to sell me on a Japanese K-47 army. But what I did was, I went, with my K-47 army, I kind of wanted to go, we've got some bog standard dudes, and then we've got the special guys. So my dudes are just Japanese infantry squads. But then I went in with the ghost squads because I love those.
Yeah,
almost the diving suit style.
And you get the special model where he's facing through the wall. I love that model so much.
And one day you're going to win some competition with that when you get around to painting.
Maybe
crush something.
Yeah.
No big thing. But no, so I've got the basis of a whatever Japanese force. I've got my officer.
Yeah.
I've got my
two. It's that classic K-47 thing. The basic stuff's generic enough.
Yeah. I will revisit that at some point, I think. I actually need to read up more on the campaign. My temptation would actually be to do some of the defence forces they had on the home islands for Operation Olympic. Which was obviously the planned Allied invasion.
Okay. Yeah.
Some of the guys that they had there who've been drawn back.
Yeah, we'll see if you can source some of the rarer and bigger tanks as well, because they held all those back.
Exactly. That's it's me. If I get an opportunity to have a tank that's really big and useless in the army, I'm gonna take it. So That might be where I go next. I've got some other stuff which we'll talk about later because
Yeah.
it's relevant to things happening in store.
Oh.
But I think after that, the next time I go round to doing an Axis Bolt action force,
The Citizen NG's just responded to that saying, are you by any chance going to be using the one and only Japanese Tiger?
yes.
Didn't they send that thing by submarine in
Yep.
parts kit, which is nuts.
Submarine and parts,
Utter
along
madness.
with a couple of jet engines, all the technical specs for things like the 262 and the 163. A whole bunch of chemical stuff, not chemical warfare as I understand.
I think it was like a whole
advanced
convoy,
machine.
but like it was mad what they actually managed to squeeze
there was
on.
a whole thing where
Mental.
there was a U-boat. I think it would have been a Type 9, one of the big ocean-going boats, met up with a Japanese sub, and they did an exchange of stuff. That wasn't the big mission, but that was like scientists and secret documents and stuff, and small carryable high-tech advances being sent over. But what I'll be doing is actually scouring the National Archives of Germany and Japan to find some evidence that Japan had a Tiger II.
They didn't have a Tiger II. No one will back that one up.
Even
they
in
definitely
bits,
had a Tiger one.
if they had a drawing of a Tiger II, that's good enough for me.
Did they have a Tiger? I know there's photos of them in the Tiger one, but I believe they were all taken in
Germany when they were training, because they were cross-training a crew and
I don't know if they ever actually assembled the one.
Instructors on that. Obviously, chat, just let us know if the outside noise gets a bit funky.
Yeah, we've got a bit of stuff going on outside. If you can't hear us, shout.
Absolutely boiling in here at the moment, so we've had to crank the windows even further open.
It was very cold when I went into work today. It was like almost minus when I started coming in. So of course my bus was late, so I stood in the cold forever. By the time I come in, like right now, it's like proper summer weather. I can't get used to it.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
But so, where did we want to go from here? What's the chat saying? Are the chat having any plans? And chat, are you having any plans and inspirations for some new forces? Just by being reminded that hey, Pacific Theatre exists, or by thinking maybe I'll pick this up and just have a play. Let us know, because we always need more pin markers and all dice.
Yeah, we got. I'm just going to check through the chat a little bit.
Yeah.
So we got Mike saying Dead Kennedys, did a song about it apparently. Nice, I quite like the Dead Kennedys. Been listening to them a lot lately.
Wait, did a song about what?
About the chemical warfare, like trading, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, weird, right?
Was that can't have been on Give Me Convenience?
Probably not, because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, right. It's the one Kennedy album, Kennedy's album I really like.
Yeah, big and useless. So not the BT-42 from Stig there. Yeah, no, I don't have one of those, but I kind of want one of those. I don't think they can take the BT-42 as the Soviets. We get the BT-7A, which is the Lighthouse version, not the baby KV-2 that the Finns had. We've got a couple of people saying you could make an actual decoy tiger and call it the Paper Tiger, which Gideon then corrects to Origami Tiger.
Oh, perfect. It's got a little, instead of a gun barrel, it's got the little crane's neck.
So we've got Spindle there. I want to do SAS. Max and Marcus poke someone with a pokey stick to make it plastic. Ooh, maybe.
Can I raise a hand here? We've basically got plastic SAS.
Is that the Commandos?
Paris.
Okay.
British Airborne. And then mix them up with the Commandos as well, but British Airborne.
Possibly the new British kit.
New Lake War Brits.
Anything come.
So
That's a kit bash job.
I would
you can do it in plastic.
So I actually sorted this out for a customer the other week.
Okay.
They kind of hit me up and they went, hey, I want to do SAS, but I want to do them in plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ended up recommending was basically, firstly, get a box of British Airborne.
Mm-hmm.
And because they want to do quite a big project.
Yeah.
Box of British Airborne, box Commandos. And the main reason we get the Commandos is for the Bergens and the Cap Comforters.
Yep.
The Airborne supply your Denisons, and they really did like the Denisons. And then...
Wait, does that kit have Cap Comforters?
The Commando
Plastic
kit.
Commandos?
The Commando kit does, yeah.
No way, I thought it did
If memory serves.
Okay, cool.
Obviously the Bergens as well, super useful. And then what I also said was, hey, get a couple of sprues of Commonwealth for your rolled up sleeves, and a couple of sprues of when they... Because this was just before it came out, or just before they were ready to release.
Yeah.
Get a couple of sprues of, or a box of, the new plastic Brits, and just mix and match the whole thing. Yeah. That'll be your army.
Make it look hodgepodge, but professional.
Basically, these guys are the pros who are picking exactly what kit works best for them in that moment. So I think I threw in a couple of British, German, and US weapon sprues. Just to get that really ragtag look. And I was kind of sat there going... I'm a little bit inspired.
A couple extra.
I could bang a squad together out of this, Interesting, I don't think the SAS were huge fans of the Thompsons.
No, I thought everyone liked Thompsons. Maybe that's personal preference. I think they're cool as hell.
Personal story from my great-grandfather, who was a Royal Marine, or commando at the time, went up, I can't remember whereabouts it was. It was obviously on D-Day, may have been D-Day or D-Day +1 or whenever, but he had a Thompson. And he threw it away the first chance he got and picked up a number 4.
Too heavy?
Too heavy, went through ammunition too fast. He just didn't like it. He didn't like that he couldn't hit anything with it because muzzle climb was ridiculous. That's 45.
True.
45 ACP, and even though it's a heavy gun, that's going to climb. So he binned
the muscle car of SMGs in World War II.
Yeah, he binned it first chance he got and grabbed a number 4.
Oh, nice.
And went through the rest of the war with a number 4.
Sweet.
But yeah, no, it's the good thing now with our British range, just to finish this up a little bit, is there's basically nothing you can't do out of our Brits now.
Okay.
The only thing you can't really do in plastic super well is winter.
Yeah, I really want us to expand our winter range. It doesn't need to be in plastic, but at the moment we've got that gorgeous
one box. Yeah,
I'd really want to do like a Southern Italy winter campaign. I think it was Southern Italy at that point.
Yeah.
There was famous shots that I see quite a lot of where they were properly frozen in Italy, and they looked super iconic. So give me a support group for that, and I can make the rest work.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be nice to see, and I imagine that's probably something we'll do at some point.
I really hope so. I'll annoy Studio as soon as I can.
So there's the long-winded answer to your question about SAS.
I can't even remember the original question.
Something about SAS, please poke.
Oh yes, 30th PA there. I'm leaning towards the USMC force. Good to hear. I'm actually going to flash an image. I don't think we've shown this one yet. Ooh. This is the new USMC Raiders box. This was also announced today. So I think there's some new sculpts in here, but a lot of these are old repacks. So these are models that have been out of the range for a little while. We kind of reworked them to be easier to cast. Yeah. We've updated the mold.
Been out of the range for nearly a year at least.
I think the big reason they came out of the sets was that we originally had the 25, like almost mini starter force metal set, and when we introduced the plastics it was basically redundant, so we got rid of them. Obviously a lot of people still want those models because they're characterful, which you're about to see now. So I think there might be 1 or 2 new sculpts, but mostly it's just these guys are back. So if you're starting a new USMC force, for me these are your veterans. They're the way more dynamic poses that you can only do with the metal sets. They just look kind of bulky because metals tend to. Yeah. They're heavier.
Have they got the guy who's in that absolutely operator pistol stance with his SMG slung?
Yeah, like that? Yeah. He's probably the sergeant kind of thing.
Oh, he's so cool.
I love that set. So I think now is a good time to get into the USMC because we've got already a big range, but it's kind of not new releases, but more stuff's coming back that
being kind of gives you that in more convenient ways as well.
Yeah, so it's kind of expanding the range and giving you most your veterans. So actually, while we're here, I'm going to keep looking at the chat. But I'm just going to jump ahead, and the paratroopers for the Japanese.
I've not even had a chance to have a real look at them.
Taishin Sudan Paratrooper Squad. I believe that's correct. Taishin Sudan Paratrooper Squad. So I can do that. So.
Sugar. There goes the camera. Leave it. Oh yeah, they're super cool. I love the dude with the marker flag.
Yeah.
And the dude, the helmets look silly, but they're silly in a good way.
But they are, I think they're going to be a really cool card. Sorry, the camera. There you go. There we go. It's back on. And yeah, I think they're really cool as well, because these are all completely new sculpts. This is something that the range was missing initially. I think
people have been asking us for them for a few years.
It's nice to have dedicated sculpts, and they are just like the Soviet Airborne we've got. Just super characterful. I love them to bits. I think they're awesome.
The guys have been absolutely knocking it out of the park.
I don't think we've hired a new sculptor.
I don't know, because
or possibly commission. I don't know how
we need to go in and check.
But there's been not necessarily like an improvement, because it's not like there was anything.
Just
there's a new style. I think the Soviet NKVD Airborne and now these new Japanese paratroopers. There's something a bit different about this. There's a new style that's kind of an influx, and the new NKVD. I'm sure I've already hyped about this. They're some of my favourite models in bolt action right now. They are so characterful. I painted some up and got quite a little love on the bolt.
I'm not a huge Soviet fan.
They paint themselves. They are just so nicely sculpted. Like sometimes you kind of got to work on a face quite a lot to make it look right. You know, there's awkward lines, or it's just kind of hard to get the brush in the right place. You can't really work with it to a fantastic. You know, they're all nice enough, but the faces just carry it by themselves. You know, they're like painted barbarian flesh, wash it flesh tone, and they already look really good. I was kind of like, do I need to highlight these very much? So I adore them. Obviously the Soviet Ebb one as well, but it was the NKVD that kind of really, wow.
And yours do look.
Because I think a lot of their heads covered up with the Soviet Ebb one. You almost see less of it because it's framed by that stark blue hat. It almost kind of brings it back into contrast.
Yeah.
So really cool. And having seen these new Japanese ones, what's that? There we go. Having seen the new Japanese ones, it's also on a little bit of a wonk. There we go. Professionalism. They look really cool as well. You can't really get it from the photos, but obviously I've had a chance to kind of get in, have a look, and have a proper old nosy on the studio painted examples.
They're going to be super cool again, and it's nice to see. You know, people a lot of the time people will go, "Oh, you know, Warlords, you know, not doing this, or this army's not getting any love, or you know, when are we going to get X, Y, Z?" And it's just in time.
Yeah,
when it makes sense for us to do stuff.
Yeah.
What we don't normally
we can't do everything at once, or else nothing will be done in a satisfying fashion. You know, some people might say, because we start off with Germans, Brits, US, stuff like that makes sense. People might be thinking, "Oh, why did you do Hungarians?" And it's like, well, probably because there was a bit of interest internally, and someone was interested in it. It probably
and Fortress Budapest.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was there was the studio interest. We got that because we get asked semi-often about Romanians, and someone this week asked about Bulgarians. We haven't done them yet. You know, it's not confirming that they're coming out next week or whenever, but given time, I think we want to do every nation. Yeah. Given time.
Exactly. You know, and
you know, some people might say, well, you've released 5 boxes of Germans, but they're a big seller.
Germans sell.
People like them, and that's the thing. It's not just that they sell; they're popular because they are cool. There's a lot of fans of that. Same with the Brits, who've got 2 desert, 1 commando. 2 North European.
Paras.
Sorry, I forgot Paras, all sorts kind of things. So, the more popular ranges will always get more. But, given time, maybe new Finns, new Italians, whole new ranges like Romania, Bulgaria, stuff like that. I think nothing's off the table.
I'm just holding out.
Just give it time.
I'm holding out for Norway, man. Holding out for Norway.
I would definitely do Romanians. I like my underdogs. Where are we going? Serious question from Mike.
Okay.
Did the USMC mostly use things like Garands, BARs, Browning 30 cals, etc., like other US forces? So we kind of touched on this one earlier. Mostly yes, but especially in the early war, they had more holdouts from the older vintage kit.
Yeah.
I think the biggest place you'd see is their tanks. Again, we touched on this earlier. They had a lot of the older and less popular kit. And also where they were fighting. I think sometimes you don't want a whole Sherman, or you definitely don't want a whole Lee. I don't think they had any Lees, to be fair.
No.
Or at least as we called them. M3s, they're Americans. But, sometimes an M3 Stuart's all you need, because it's already, you're fighting your way through a jungle, and then you're going up a mountain, and then you've got to worry about foxholes with guys with suicide mines.
The thing you
want to be able to get out of there.
The thing you've got to consider with the Marines as well, in the present day, but also at that period, is they are Marines.
Yeah.
They are an expeditionary assault force more than anything else, and they're amphibious. It sounds silly, but they are Marines. They have to be amphibious.
So, or else they're not kind of able to do their stuff.
While they do have, the Marines are a self-contained organisation. You've got Marine Aviation, you've got Marine Army, you've got Marine Artillery.
Yeah.
Their focus is much more on, mobile, aggressive,
rapid beach aggression.
Yeah, aggressive, mobile, light infantry with support. But the infantry is really the be-all and end-all, the focus. Whereas the army, they're much bigger. They can be more broader.
And because they got the whole logistics chain usually at their back.
Yeah, whereas the Marines are working on
what the loads of trucks.
Yeah, the Marines are working on what the Navy can supply you by sea.
Yeah. The American campaign in the Pacific was super reliant on that, so yeah. But generally their kit was largely the same, but you might see some older guns earlier.
Some of the Ospreys will probably have a really good breakdown on that in terms of the tables of organisation and equipment.
Actually, I like these 2 replies. We've got Gideon there saying, more SMGs due to how the fighting happened. Which, again, makes sense. Grease guns, Thompsons, all that kind of thing is super useful for if you've got 10-foot range when you actually engage the enemy. Yeah. You just want to be able to spray it down.
And if you're clearing trenches, assaulting a defended beach.
Citizen NG also brings up they love the M1 carbine. I think, again, a lot of your job was hiking through horrible, dense jungles under pressure in incredible heat. Like, that's always the thing that people forget. It was very hot for most of the island's campaign, at least during summer, but goes without saying. Winter did happen, disclaimer. We got nitpicked last week, so I'm just been covering my bases.
What about the machine guns, Max?
But, the M1 carbine, it's super light by comparison. Still has, plenty of bullets at a pretty reasonable caliber that can, cause an injury quite merrily if you hit. Still semi-auto as well. So
it's
again,
it's an ideal weapon for their situation.
Mm-hmm.
And the Marines have got a reputation as well for being resourceful with what they have and acquiring what they need and just discarding what they don't need. Why are we going to use this? We don't need it. It's rubbish.
It's heavy.
Can we modify it to work? If yes, we'll modify it to where you get things like the Stinger. They're modified. I can't remember actually. I need to rewatch Ian's excellent video on the Stinger. There's the weekly shout out. But
I haven't even got the shirts on today, man.
I know. But no, it's really cool. It's a really cool way actually to get some different stuff into a US Army into a US force compared to a US Army force.
Yeah.
And the other thing is they're in camouflage. They're not green.
It's Intelligent Mr. Toad there. I'll check out those images. It's really hard to kind of juggle this sort of thing when I'm live, so that might show up in the next couple of weeks. Stig. Okay. So I'm just trying to go for actual questions. If there's just a comment on it, I don't need to read that out. Okay.
We don't even need to be here. They can have their own discussion.
30th PA, you got the wrong guy. That's a very offensive comment otherwise. He said, also Marcus, go Flyers. Oh, that's why we got our names wrong around.
Oh.
I mean, heck.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
I'm Max, he's Marcus. Wait, no.
I thought we'd go a whole stream without a tech issue. Does this count? We still failed?
For any confused, he is Max.
That's embarrassing.
Philadelphia Flyers
That's
fan.
very silly. Okay, Max, this side. Whoops. Yes, go Flyers. And the season's washed, but go Flyers.
Marcus,
no more hockey.
Red Wings fan.
No more hockey.
Sad.
Nobody cares about hockey. It's a game stream.
See how salty he gets.
Intelligent Mr. Toad, that I like the idea of using Shermans as a superior tank on a battlefield. Yeah, by the time they started fielding large numbers of Shermans, going up against Chihars, it was such an unfair competition. They were thicker armor, bigger gun, just comfier.
Better.
Like internally, they had leather seats. That's a big part of
just
the
a superior vehicle.
Yeah, there's some great stories where and again, like it's that thing of a big part of the island hopping campaign was getting stuff where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
An M4 might have legitimate trouble getting to a lot of the battlefields, where you'll have the Marines be completely hamstrung because they've got a Chihar and it's just blowing them away and they've got to stay down. And all of a sudden a Sherman comes up and it's like one Sherman versus a couple Chihars and it's just ping, and it's just doing its job. It's something pretty scary.
It's something everyone who really knows about their tanks will tell you. Is the best tank in the world is the tank that you've got when your opponent doesn't have a tank.
Yep. Panzer II will do a job fine. Panzer I would do its job fine if you have just going up against infantry without an anti-tank weapon.
If you have a Panzer I and your opponent does not have a tank, the Panzer I is the best tank in the world for you right now.
Yes.
Because it's there.
I mean, maybe not if you've got a bazooka.
Genghis Khan. Was it Genghis Khan? Yeah, better to be on hand with 10 men than absent with 10,000.
It'll be that or Sun Tzu, because it's always Sun Tzu.
One of the two. For some reason my brain wanted to say Genghis Khan, but who knows?
Chaos Core X asked, did they actually jump out of a plane? Assuming the Japanese. I don't know. Chat, if anyone knows. Did the Japanese paratroopers, did they fight as infantry? Because a lot of paras ended up doing that. Or did they have airdrops? I think they did in China. I'm sure they have against the Chinese, but I don't know if they ever dropped against the USMC.
Well, the big thing there you've got to think of is the Japanese are operating off carriers, and they've got land base. They've got land bases as they're losing islands, but you've got to get the transports over to those island airstrips to take off from. You've got to get the paras over there. You've got to get air superiority from the island and from your carriers, and then you've got to drop them.
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest, it would have just been such a faff.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there'd been a successful one.
Yeah.
But I think they might have, as you say, may have had a very similar experience to, for example, the Russians or the Germans, in that their early use of paratroopers was mishandled.
It was not even mishandled. I think the Russian ones, they gave them hell kind of thing, but they were fighting during Barbarossa when the Germans still had the momentum.
Yeah.
They got slaughtered. At which point you kind of. We could use them like this, but unless we absolutely have to, we're better just putting them in the line.
Of course.
At which point they will be really good infantry, kind of thing.
And of course, the Germans on Crete, no.
Yeah. Sorry, Stumpy. I try not to go too hockey before we get off topic. We love hockey deep down. No,
Yes.
you know you do too. Tookie Took, sorry. Don't mean to be rude. Would love to see Italians and Polish in plastic.
Everyone would. Literally, everyone wants it.
Suggestion for the new Canadians coming off the same comment. Should have put 1 or 2 American sprues because they used Thompsons and some carbines. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it would kind of drive the cost up for us, which possibly might have a knock-on
Pass on
effect.
to customer, yeah.
But obviously we do sell them separately, and right now we do have a sprue sale on.
Yes.
So I believe you can get the US one for only £2.50.
I mean, and
pound sterling.
And again,
nice easy hand swap.
And again, it's that thing of if you want to represent that, it's a super easy conversion. And if you don't, if you want to go purist, if you want to go just pure British or pure Canadian, that's what the box is designed for out of the box. But there's options.
Yeah.
So,
and I think I don't actually know that one. I don't know if what the proportion of Thompsons to Stens and stuff like that. But I think that is interesting actually. Yeah. I didn't even know that, especially the carbine. Because the carbine, I'm a big fan of the carbine.
That feels very American.
Yeah.
And that feels very iconically
But
American.
I think the carbine was one of the coolest guns of World War II, weirdly, just because it kind of got everywhere and it just did workhorse really hard.
It's designed to be, we want to give a guy a gun that isn't a pistol, but he has to do a job that would make carrying a full-length rifle really inconvenient.
And then everyone loved, hell, it almost replaced the Grant afterwards.
Yeah.
That's kind of, go around.
Yeah.
Tongues. That speaks to how positively some people thought of them, and I think they're cool. But you never really see them. I don't think the British ever got issued them.
I don't think we ever got issued them. Whether we ended up with
probably like the SAS, if they wanted them, they had them. Same with commandos and paras and stuff like that. But they weren't ever adopted, which is interesting because I think they'd be a good. Like I say, I rate them. I think they're really cool. I almost spent a lot of money firing on when I went out to the States because we were.
How much do they want for it?
I can't remember, but it was the ammo money.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, that thing sent me to suddenly really start getting for it, and I'd already spent quite a bit of money on pistol ammo by the time I went to a firing range. Me and my partner, we got through some. We had a 9mm of some variety, probably a Glock or something. We had a 38 cal revolver. And it was a very fun day out because obviously being English, I'd never had a chance to play with a gun. So I kind of coming out that I've already spent quite a lot on ammo and hire, and they do have an M1 now, and I hadn't spotted that before, and I wish I'd gone for that. We could, but fortunately time was busy, so I didn't waste an absurd amount of money on
next time you're there.
30-aught. Is it 30-aught?
30 carbine.
30 carbine, yeah. 30 carbine. I didn't waste all my money. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, there's a couple of people have asked this one, so I want to make sure I don't miss it this time. Muppet Jedi there with, is this replacing...
What's a username?
Is this replacing the Band of Brothers set? No. Someone also asking, is this confirming V3? No.
Not at all.
The new starter set is basically for people who are more interested. Obviously, we have a lot of fans out in the States, so perhaps this is more interesting to them specifically. Yeah, we are trying to move into new markets. I think there's no shame in that. Hopefully, this will engage more with the American market, and they can get something they're a bit more personally engaged with.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's Americans in Band of Brothers.
It does seem
it's the other kind.
It
of
very
side
much
of
seems
pond.
that if unless you're just all about World War II and the history, it seems that most people are more engaged either with, for example, the desert, Northwest Europe, or the Far East, the Pacific. Everyone's kind of got that one theatre, and previously we'd very much catered more to the Northwest Europe crowd.
I mean, if it was up to me, we'd have a Africa Corps versus 8th Army start set.
Oh yeah.
But
no, absolutely not confirming version 3. This has nothing new in it in terms of rules. Yeah. There's going to be no surprises.
It's going to be the same A5 rulebook that we've seen before. Same rules. And if you haven't seen our last stream, speaking of V3 specifically, our last stream with Alessia, we actually engage in some community feedback on what we want to see for V3.
Yeah.
Because we haven't started working on it yet.
No, basically. V3,
so we're still in the ideas phase.
V3 is so far off that even goons like me and Max are allowed to suggest ideas.
Yeah.
Which is pretty terrifying, actually.
Yeah. Another question, if this is from Mike. If someone got the new starter set, what would you suggest to expand on the Japanese forces? So, support group right off the bat.
Yep.
Actually, more infantry. But that's me. I'm a big army infantry guy. So, a lot of foot sloggers and things like that. But it also allows you to build way more specialists. So, if you, for example, built 2 10 squads, officer, and a lunge mine or a sniper. You can then build the other one, couple lunge mines, snipers, have weapon options, so you can have NCO with rifle, NCO with SMG, you can swap them out. Just more infantry is useful in general. And that's where I'd go. And then from there, get weird and wonderful with it. Find out what interests you, because it's like, if I was doing a Japanese force, I'd probably get one of those amphibious tanks, the ones that had the breakaway armor. Yeah, they're cool as hell. So I'd go for one of them, stuff like that. You got tons of options.
Yeah, that's basically what I would do. Is I would support box, more infantry. I'd actually probably go for some trucks or something to give you a bit of flexibility in how you play the force. But yeah, like Max says, find what you're into and then go that way.
I like that. Tookie Tooks there talking about Deep Strike Wolf paratroops. I'm sure Market Garden has that.
For a paper airplane.
But yeah, no, I don't think if there's not in Market Garden, it's somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's a good one to home rule, I think.
It's experiment.
It's something that's like, Chaos is confirmed, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's listed as an experimental as well. It's, it's not for serious
But if you
want
to do a scenario, then that would be super useful.
Oh, gotcha.
That would be so cool. I've never actually done that one, unfortunately.
I think
sometime. I've got my Paras now.
I did a paper plane version of it once when I was learning to play.
I've only ever played the Paras once, and it was on the Stalingrad board. My Soviet. Yeah, we were teaming.
It was you.
It was each other?
Me and Steve Morgan,
and I had Dan on my team, and we smoked
you and Dan. Yeah, you absolutely annihilated us. Because
Steve
what
had
else is
Brit Airborne? You had Germans, I think, and I was. It was Germans and Soviets versus Germans and Brit Airborne because it was the most confused.
Yeah,
we just go,
everyone was
put
lost.
Some models on a table. We were trying to teach Dan how to play because he was new at the time, and it was just, cool. What have we got? If we have extra people, that'll help.
Yeah, we were debuting the Stalingrad board as well. What a first game to play!
We've played on that plenty times since. We've thoroughly learnt that board.
It was more. What a way to.
I think I've played it more than you have, being a Soviet player.
You're playing on our newest, fanciest scenic board with our head of sales, and us. Wow! Welcome to the jungle.
Mm-hmm. He was on my side, so of course he won. Oh, it was Africa Corps. I was taking Africa
You
Corps.
were. You had very lost
Africa Corps and Germans versus Germans and
Brits.
Brit Airborne. You do the maths. It didn't make any sense. I managed to crash a handbag into a wall. We still won somehow. It was secret objective in the middle, so because I had the armored transport, just whoop, grab the thing, whoop, we win. It was a fun game though. I remember that one quite clearly. Okay, have we got anything else? Because I want to move on to Holly Corner.
Yes.
So 30th PA asking about MMGs. Watch the last stream on that one. We discussed that at length for what we kind of want to do, what we've experimented with in the past between V1 and V2. Check out that stream because we talk about MMGs a lot. So I'm going to do some Hobby Corner. We've not done this for a couple of weeks. Marcus will just have to make noises of, that's cool.
Not done it for a couple of months, actually.
Yeah, we've done a lot of
what I can probably do is come just round the corner and stay distanced from you.
Okay, so sorry if these have happened. Like I say, it's been ages since we've done one. But I'm going to start off with Stefan Tisson. I don't know where I got these from, actually. I think it might have been Facebook. That these are actually very appropriate for what we're talking about today. This is a Japanese force. So you can see there, I believe it's a... I don't think it is a Chiha. I don't actually know the type of tank, but it's a Japanese tank with supporting infantry. It's looking super cool. I've got a lot of images from him, so I'm going to go through them quite quick. I think I picked this one because I really like the colours used. So I think it's clearly been airbrushed at some point, I'd imagine. But there's a lot of nice decals on there. And just overall, it looks the part. It looks, iconic for what you're trying to
looks very Japanese.
There. Yeah, so we've got... did we do Mike's ships? I think this is where we caused the fuss, so I think I've already showed that. So this is one I actually got in the inbox last week, so I know this one's fresh. So I know we've shown some of this, so I'm trying not to show too much stuff that people might have already seen. So this is from Chris Shockey, and this was his work on... Oh, that's a huge image file, just bear with us one moment. This is his American Civil War stuff. So there is his Confederate Brigade, and I think he said he painted these in quite a good... turnaround time frame. So
we're seeing a lot of that with the ACW painters.
I think you've got to, or you lose your mind painting all the details. So we got a couple images from him. So there's his, I believe they're the Confederates. Yep, and there they are from the back. And I'm sure there was one of the Union. There we go. There's his Union. So yeah, really nice showing of how. You can get them done quite quickly. So I remember correctly in his ticket, because he sent it via email, he said, they're really fun to paint, really liking the models. impressed with how fast. So I think there was a little bit of Citadel contrast
Yep.
involved, aka horse paints. And I just think they look really cool. I'm going to see if there's one more. We'll do another hobby corner. As always, if you have anything you guys want to show us, then please send it through to the inbox, or I guess message my blog. My blog has its own inbox.
Or even message, the Warlord Games page. Just say, hey, can you pass this to Max and Marcus? There's so many ways to get in contact with us now. Just kind of pick your poison.
I think I might have already shown this one.
But please don't take a Polaroid and actually physically mail it to us, because the scanner's a bit fussy.
I think I might have already shown this one, but just in case I haven't, because I think I'm going to clear the box after this, so anything that hasn't been shown, I will not show it. So this is from, was it Steph? What was the name on it? Vincent. And his lovely third round. I might have shown this one already, but there we go. That's the cool one. We're going to clear the inbox after this. And actually, no, let's just do a blowout, just in case. No one's getting missed today. Doing it that way. So I love that. I think that's just a really nice, overall, well-rounded ship. Obviously, the Black Seas community's been...
Oh, they're on fire.
They're dedicated, let's put it that way. Like,
it's got to be to do all that rigging.
Yeah, it's like 18 months from the release. Like, it's almost 2 years, actually, from when we initially released that game. And there's still
the hype is still
a lot
rolling.
of stuff coming out. Obviously,
It's
Gabrio's coming on in a couple
Yes.
weeks. There may be stuff to discuss.
There might be, mightn't there?
Yeah. But we'll see on that one. So we got some stuff from Tim Hodson here. This was his Brits. So he's got some really nice World War II British. I can't even remember where we got this one. I don't know if I asked this one off Facebook or if it was emailed in. But they look really cool. Marcus, you'll be able to check this on the playback.
Yes.
Some really nice teddy bear fur mats.
Ooh,
and some scenic explosions with the glowies in them.
Oh, nice.
On top of the really nicely painted infantry. So I love that. I think using stuff like that on tabletop really brings it to life.
I never used to be.
Lovely.
Yeah,
like
I never used to be a big
this
fan of
picture's
glowies.
Gorgeous. We've got the... I think it might have actually been photos of a battle, which is impressive. A lot of the shots we get and that I take as well for like my blog, they're all fake. Here's these models having a fight, but they're not having a fight. They're just models are put next to each other. Let me play them with my old action figures kind of thing. But you can see a pack 4251. I can't remember what number it is, but the one with the big gun on the back, shooting a jeep of the airborne in the rear in a nice Normandy town. Nice. Beautiful shots, lovely scenics, lovely terrain. And I think we are out of things in the hobby corner. So please help us fill this so it can be a regular segment again, because we have been way too busy the last couple
of months.
And
it is something we love doing, because it is all about, at the end of the day, we just make the stuff. You're the folks really that...
Well, we're more than happy to make it work for you guys as well. If you want to shout out, hey, check my blog, hey, check my Facebook, whatever, we're happy to link it. If you just want to shout out, heck, if you just want to show us a cool model.
Yes.
And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be like on theme. Obviously, we've got Gabriel in a couple of weeks. So it doesn't have to be just show us a few Black Seas, because we can put them on hold, as it were. And then just work from there.
Just please don't send us your Space Marines. We don't care about them.
No.
United States Marines, certainly.
Do you guys have an Instagram tag to tag you in photos for Hobby Corner? No. I'm going to ask our social media manager if we can.
Yes.
I'll get back to you on that one.
That's a good idea.
Because, we should have thought of that.
Well, neither of us Instagram.
But then again, we've got Painting Warlord, so we might be able to start picking stuff up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we would start just hijacking the Painting Warlord tag, because I believe that's on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
So we can get a couple of streams off that. But in the past, I've just been going through the various pages that I'm in, just been like, can we use this? That looks awesome. That's like when we had the Mythic America, which was probably the last one. And some of the Mythic America stuff I just stole from Facebook, because it was like, that's cool. Can I show the rest of the world who aren't in the Mythic America group, because that deserves to be seen. So nice. Can't remember the name. Very busy painter. I saw a lot of their stuff.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So Haggard's asking, got some good stuff on that spruce sale, although I noticed there's a lot of Blood Red Skies and Cruel Sea stuff on there. Should I be worried? No. So basically, there was overstock. Mad overstock on a couple items. Some of the stuff's made in-house that we just made too much of initially. And the Blood Red Skies stuff, we make those externally. So there was a bit of value in ordering more than we needed. If we needed 1,000, let's order 5,000, we'll just have it to spare. It's kind of taking up a lot of warehouse space, so it's like, if we need more, we can order more, but for now, half price, let's start getting those numbers down on certain items. So that's all that is. That's not going anywhere.
I always find it really quite funny when certain communities, they see their particular game on sale, and the reaction is so mixed. Because it's like, oh, awesome, yes, sweet, I can finally expand my forces. And then the other half of the community is kind of going, oh God, oh God, oh God, it's over. It's like, nah.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I've never been working at all when we've discontinued a game.
I actually haven't either. The closest we came was Terminator Genesis
Wasn't our
and
game,
Project
yeah.
Z, neither of which were our games.
I thought Project Z was.
Kind of. I think we did some... Oh no, I was here when we discontinued Test of Honor.
Okay. Because, none of those, they were all before
When we discontinued Test of Honor, basically, as far as I'm aware, because I just started, wasn't selling very well. Someone else wanted to take over the range. We got an offer for it.
Yeah, bounced to Footsore, I think.
Footsore and Grey for now were doing the rules.
It's nice.
We had an opportunity to not just kill the game, but we're like, we don't want to keep it. Here's a good opportunity for it to go to someone else. They can keep it up. We're just going to keep ownership of all the models we designed for it. And as people have seen, we've started coming...
Warlords of Erewhon.
Yeah, Warlords of Erewhon and Pike and Shot in some cases, which is really good because they are really beautiful models. And, this industry never really bins anything.
Nah.
The molds are all still lurking. Whether they ever get remade or not is another matter. But the molds are all still lurking.
Yeah.
So, no, long story short, don't panic, written in big friendly letters at the top of our sprue sale.
Yeah, just get some cheap sprues. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're basically out of pre-scripted topics. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh no, we're off script.
Oh no, I know what we haven't talked about. Store thing.
Yes.
So down in the store, we are doing a staff league. Now that the restrictions
we've got a catchy 4-word name for it.
Go for it.
In-store tank war!
Yes. So we're all planning tank wars. The aim is everyone starts a new force, builds up a 2,000, that'd be massive, 1,250 points tank war force, and try to pick different nations so we got different people being represented. Yeah. So I've obviously got 1,000,001 Soviet tanks already, so this time I'm going for the US. Marcus, what are you going for?
I've got 1,000,001 Germans, so naturally I'm just doing 1,000,000 more Panzer Force. No, I'm going swinging it all the way around. Obviously I do lots of Eastern Front German stuff. I thought, let's play the baddies, for what I see as the baddies from my perspective on the gaming table most of the time, and do some Soviets. Gives me a really good chance to play with a completely different style of painting tanks. Instead of camouflage, it's now green. Gives me, that's a nice challenge actually for me, because with camouflage, you can really hide a multitude of painting sins, because people are looking at the camo pattern. With green, you've got to be more focused on your weathering and your even coverage. You've got to make it look nicer.
Yeah.
And it also, we're playing a ton of War Thunder, playing some Soviet tanks.
I was about to bring that up if you didn't.
Yeah, we're actually playing a bunch of War Thunder at the moment, and we're all...
Because you're moving off jets into it, and I'm main Russian armour.
Yeah, I'm taking a break from 10.7 jets. I still do it. I'm still flying, a few missions every day to keep my eye in, but just fancied something different. I really want to grind all the way up to the T-72s.
Yeah. But for me, it's all about the T-34, unsurprisingly.
Right now, we're in that late World War II butter zone where, KV-85s, T-34 85s.
Don't make me start my rant about the KV-85.
IS-1s.
IS-1s, IS-2s.
IS-2s are coming. We're in the big boys league a little bit now, and I really want to do some of the tanks from our squadron.
And yet you chose KV-2s?
I haven't chosen KV-2s yet.
Okay.
I'm still umming and ahhing, because there's a bit of me that kind of goes, I could go IS-2s.
IS-2s. I love the IS-2. It's a nice kit as well.
A bit of
fiddly on the rear tow hooks. They're a bit fiddly, but other than that, it's a bit...
Is that one that we built, or is that one that we did in collaboration with Italieri?
I believe it's Italieri, half and half, yeah.
Yeah, because...
I built one of them, and it's actually a nice kit to work on. It's a little bit fiddly in places, but it's mostly just those things, because you've got to bend them right.
Yeah.
Which is... it's doable.
It's scale model. It's scale model ability.
Yeah, it's... Just give it have a think, because I almost broke it. don't be like me.
Well, I'm actually looking at, we also have the resin kit, the 44 production.
You do a resin IS-2?
Resin IS-1. No, it's resin IS-2, sorry.
Yeah,
resin IS-2.
We don't sell an IS.
Resin IS-2, 44 production.
Okay.
No idea what the difference is, but I think I might put one of those in and have that, if I'm going to get three.
I believe it's always the micro stuff. I think the cupola got redesigned. But yeah, no, that'd be cool. So I'm going to be doing the US, probably. I'm thinking doing it really cheesy. I might do a different list, but I got in my head this idea of 3 M10s and 3 Hellcats.
You're a Batman.
It wouldn't be that bad. They're all open topped.
Yeah, but you've got like a million HMGs as well, so
Yeah, they all
anything
have an
trying to shoot
HMG.
you is so pinned.
Yeah, they do have an HMG. But the thing, every machine gun can pin me, and what tank doesn't have a hull MMG? I don't think it's that broken.
True.
But I'm not sold on the idea yet.
No,
I might just do another
if he finds something cheesy, he'll switch to that.
Yeah.
Crush us all in the league.
No, I'm really tempted to do another Soviet force, to be honest.
But this is all the brainchild.
We'll see.
This is all the brainchild of Big Dave, our store manager, and Little Connor,
Yep.
one of our store bods. And the plan is basically we're going to do it as a staff league. And then speaking to Big Dave earlier today, if that goes well, once we get to a situation with COVID where we can have people back in the store, then we're going to end up going to a little bit of challenge the staff, getting the customers and our regulars in on it, which is going to be really nice. We've started seeing a few of our regular faces back in store, which is really awesome. Glad to see people made it, obviously, but good to just see the store buzzing again, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Or as buzzing as it can be when everyone's got to stay socially distanced and awkwardly manoeuvre around each
Not
other.
less buzzing, more bumbling.
Yes.
No, I'm really tempted to
Still
do
be like
another Soviet
What would
force,
you
to
do
be
for
honest.
other Soviets to make it different from your hordes of Soviets?
Different T-34s with new camouflage patterns. Shut up. No, I really want to redo my T-34 7E6s anyway. I'm not happy with a lot of them. I just not really super satisfied with how they came out.
Would you just do bog standards, or would you kind of go for like factory Stalingrad stuff, or?
I do a mix because I think that's cool for me. I like that. I've been reading a lot of. I've literally read 2 books on the bounce about Soviet armor. I read one, which was the Hayes manual you got me for Christmas.
Yes.
I don't know if they were going to be in chat. I can't even remember their name because someone called us up. Obviously, we work customer service. If you don't know, I was having a chat with someone who just wanted to place an order. He was ordering some Soviet stuff. And he actually recommended a book by Evgeny Besanov, who was a lieutenant in the Red Army during World War II. He was a tank rider, and he recommended it to me. He's like, "You should really check this out." And I checked it out. I literally ordered it the same day. I ordered like 10 minutes after we got off the phone by the Tank Museum. I'm reading that at the moment, so I kind of just want to do a force based around that idea.
Yeah.
Which would be super fun, I think. But maybe we'll see. We'll see.
I could. I did. I mean,
Well, do you know what else I did?
Oh, on.
I'd convert a T-34 57.
Oh, yes.
Because what you'd want to do is take the 41 manufacture turret, drill the barrel out, and then put in a ZIS-2 barrel. It's not perfect, but it's damn near perfect. And I think you'd actually want to take off the muzzle brake.
Yeah, because
but
no muzzle
the
brake.
big thing is they had really far. So, like, if the tank hole stops here, kind of thing, the T-34 barrel got to like there. The 57 barrel got to like there. It was really long, so just represent that.
Was it the Russians?
And I'd run it as a T-34 85.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which would be a bit unrealistic with the HE yield, but the point is, it was an upgunned hole puncher, so I'd want that +6. And in the context of tank war, I don't think we're going to be seeing much infantry anyway.
No.
So.
I mean, was it the Russians that used to have that hang-up about the tank gun shouldn't overhang?
Everyone did. The US, the Brits. I don't know about the Russians, but presumably.
And then by the end of the war, everyone's realised, no, high-velocity guns are big brain.
Because you look at the M3 Lee, when they first came out, they had that really
Short
M2
barrel, yeah.
And they actually had to put a counterweight on it so it balanced properly. And then after a while, they showed, why are we putting a counterweight full length and then you get better armor penetration?
Yeah, you get a better
gun.
gun.
I was literally watching a video about this by Chieftain yesterday, so it's fresh in my brain.
But no, I think I did kick the tires when I kind of heard we were doing this on. You know what? I do already have, I think, 6 Panzer IVs. I could go for another 4 to 5 Panzer IVs.
Yeah,
and just do them differently. My initial thought was I'd do them as J models. Do super late war, as in literally last days of the war, last tanks in Berlin. And like you did with your own, you handmade your chicken wire skirts for your T-34.
I haven't done it yet, but that'd be another
making
thing I'd be wanting to do.
And I was going to start doing the Toma style shirts and kit bashing those, which would have been an absolute nightmare, but I think really rewarding.
I got the chicken wire. Well, it's not chicken, it's rodent wire, but
yeah.
I got it. Stig, so bearing in mind it's tank war, I don't think a lot of those are going to be too useful. He's saying that Marcus wants to be different from Max's hordes. You could go naval guards, airborne, Pacific, so Manchurian campaign. Considering it's tanks, it's going to be guys in green or guys in camo.
Yeah.
But you are right. I'm a big proponent of Soviet armies can look super different. There's this I think there's a Western mindset that just a horde of guys.
Yeah,
with,
kind of vaguely brown.
It's enemy at the gates, basically.
Yeah.
No, there was a ton of variety in there, and you even see it between core infantry. It's not here's the airborne, here's the NKVD, here's the Navy. Just the core guys, you'd see difference between a Siberian, a Mongolian, and a
Tartar.
All kinds of different things. Mike, what about having a M36 Jackson in your force?
I suggested a Jackson
I don't
as
like
well.
putting big tanks in. If it's over 300 points, I get really antsy. Last time we played, I put in an IS-2, and that's like the most expensive tank I've ever taken. I think they're too much of a point sink. If it goes wrong, it's one bad roll, and you've just lost most of your force.
Because the other one,
So I'd never take a Tiger, for example.
the other one I've been looking at is
Actually, I took a Tiger once. It was really fun.
the other one I've been looking at is ISU 122s.
Oh yeah,
because they're evil.
that's niche. That's very niche.
I like them. I like them a lot.
But yeah, no. So I'd probably just do a very. That's the other thing. I've not actually done much middle war, so it's as weird as that sounds. So,
Yours is early and late.
not even. I just mostly do late. Other than the T-34s, it's all late.
Late gets you the toys.
So I'd be thinking, not necessarily. A lot of early T-34s, KV-1s, BT-7s, BT-5s, all the quick boys.
Yeah, I mean, my
do something a bit earlier.
My temptation was still to just have an absolute horde of aerosands that can't move unless we play on a snowboard. And I just sit there and go, "Come towards me, fear my LMG mightiness." But then I remembered I don't hate myself quite that much.
Okay. So we're at 10 minutes left.
Yes.
So open the amnesty box. Ask us anything you want. If it's on topic, off topic, we don't mind.
Yep.
Question to everyone else. Do you think, for a tank war force, 3 M10s and 3 M18s is cheesy? And do you think, I want to harass one of my colleagues, is a King Tiger with 2 Panzer IVs cheesy as well? All veteran, by the way. All veteran. But one of my colleagues is taking that. But like I say, I'm torn. I wouldn't mind doing Russians again, but I just really
You
like
never
Russians.
mind doing Russians.
No, they're fun. I've got a book that's all about different Russian camouflage patterns. So I took the T-70, T-34. Come on, brain. I'm talking too long. Out, I could kind of have a bit of experimenting with.
Yeah.
Basically, T-34s through the seasons. Have my winter one, have my autumn one,
that'd be
have
cool.
my spring one.
I mean, your end goal has to be have one of every single T-34 variant, right? That's got to be where you're ending up eventually, surely.
Most of the way there, dude.
Jeez.
What I'm missing, if you obviously discounting seasonal, because whatever.
Yeah.
That, I'm missing the SU-85.
Which you've got one that is that?
I got an SU-100. That's done.
Yeah.
I'm missing the SU-85, the SU-122. That's it. So I mean, there's
Including all the goofy turret variants and
there's only 3 that we sell.
true.
And that because there was the 40 variant, which I don't think anyone sells because it was that was around for a flash in the pan. There was like a couple hundred of those made tops, and a lot of them died during Barbarossa just moving because that was when they had hideous logistical issues. So drive 400 miles that way to the front. We got 250 miles of fuel.
And the transmission's going to go after 100.
Literally, there was pictures of Russian tankers who'd actually drive with a second engine and transmission set on the back of their hood because they knew it was going to happen, which is mental. That'd be fun diorama, actually. Probably not at this scale. You'd want to go to like the 135s with internal, so you could just pull it out, but that'd be cool.
Someone might be able
So there was the 40 variant, which barely existed. The 41 variant, which they started really ramping up. The 42, which was the one that they made a million of. Then the 43, which was the 2-part, but you only got that from Zavod 183, which was the 2-part
Max is
machine.
just flexing now.
Stamps. And then they moved on to the 85, which you had 2 variants of, and we only sell the later variant. I don't think anyone sells the DT5 version because, again, it was around for a hot minute because it was a stopgap and they made like 400.
Yeah.
Don't come at me on the T-34 law. I don't know my Shermans that well, apparently, but I know my T-34s quite a lot. They're my new favourite. I'm done with Shermans, whatever.
New favourite?
I'm over it.
T-34s have been your favourite.
No, I used to swear that Shermans are my favourite, but the T-34's back.
T-34's always secretly been your favourite.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember the first bit of bolt action you ever got was a Sherman.
Wow. What? The T-34, you mean?
So, T-34,
Yeah.
yes, I do.
I don't know if it was the first thing I made. I was in the infantry first, but
Basically,
it was in the first buy.
Yeah.
Haggard's they're asking, any idea when the flower class will come back into stock? I honestly am surprised it's still... Is it a Skytrax one?
Yeah.
So at some point, Skytrax have recently-ish moved and they're still setting some stuff up and kind of sorting out their business now after the move.
I mean, we've actually been doing a little bit of painting, some bits and bobs of some of the Skytrax
I believe that's
stuff.
stum.
But well, some of it's on the website already, some of it isn't. But yeah, they kind of came and asked a lot of Warlord people, "Hey, would you like to paint some stuff for us to be on the website?" And we went, "Sure."
Yeah. So yeah, you'll never guess what I was worth. I'm painting T-34 for me. So, L. Thielman, I don't really understand this question because I know we sell a few, but is there any plans for US infantry LMGs? So we already do them in plastic. No, we do the new US Raiders USMC squads getting an LMG within the squad.
Mhm.
So probably not sold separately, but we sell quite a few US LMGs pretty much in every plastic kit and in a couple of the metal boxes. Spindle shanks. Oh yeah, you asked this one earlier and I completely missed it. As you've moved location, has the store also moved? Yes, the store is below us right now.
Yes. If we stamp our feet very loudly,
they'll get annoyed. So it's number 1 Finch Close, something.
One. All right, you ready? Max has got his T34 law. I just know where I work. 1A Central Close Finch Court, Nottingham, November Golf 7 to November.
And if you need to plug it into a sat nav, it's on our website.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's here. There's parking out the front for customers that the staff are not allowed to go into. So we've always got a space for you if you come in by car.
Yep.
And
just don't drive into the big open lorry gate because you will be in the warehouse. We will package you and you will be sold.
You will be sent to the next customer as a free gift with their order. I don't care if they've just bought decals. They're getting your car if you come into the warehouse.
And you as well.
Yeah. Unless you get out in time and into the store. Store's the safe zone.
Yeah.
It's like baseball. I think that's how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't
think about it.
If you get thrown out, you get sold.
Yeah, so, but yeah. Spindle shanks do it, stamp your feet. No.
They will get annoyed and Dave is bigger than us.
Okay. Amish there. Oh, this is a terrible idea, but nothing but SU 152s, ISU 122s, KV2s, and Katyushas. Just saturate the field. Basically what you're doing, but it's for a tank war, so I think all the HE's a bit wasted. That's why something like a SU 100 with its ludicrously long barrel was far funner. Because I got a lot of those. I got one of those. It's a fun tank, that one. It was a fun one to paint, actually, because it's the late war super tank destroyer. It was like the biggest gun they fielded.
It was a beast killer.
Oh yeah, those things would mess up like a Tiger at quite significant ranges. And they've actually got really well armoured fronts. They're super sloped. The Hayes manual's author swears that it's actually better than the Jagdpanther.
But they're a Jagdpanther equivalent, or like a Jagdtiger.
Yeah, they're in the same sphere. They're the same design. It's not like M18s, M10s design theory or the Achilles kind of thing. And yeah, they're kind of analogous. They both got huge guns and they're pretty well frontally armoured, so. Stig, they're asking, when should I get antsy about a pending shipment? So generally, if it's not been fulfilled, we normally say 2 to 4 working days standard, obviously not including weekends. We do work weekends, but
we
don't
can't ship
have
weekends.
The whole guys, we don't ship weekends and, maybe there's less people in kind of thing. In extremis, it can take up to 10 days. If you're worried about an order or you need it urgently, obviously we're always free to take a message. So if there is any issues or anything like that, we can get it resolved. For example, if we're waiting on something from third parties, sometimes we might have to wait for it to arrive. But if you need it urgently, we can refund and send or something like that, or give you an estimate of when we might be able to get it.
And obviously,
always happy to help.
If it has shipped, chances are if it was sent via courier, we can track it down. We can work out what's going on and get it squared away.
Yeah. Is there any plans for bundles with the D-Day US sectors? Almost certainly, yes. Yeah. We're not in that team, but considering every book release ever's basically had one, then I imagine.
Obviously, it is still very, 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 very new.
It's coming out in 2 months, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. It's not even out yet. It's new enough.
Is it on pre-order?
I think it's on pre-order.
There's almost certainly going to be something.
Oh god, yeah. My point being, obviously, when we do books and things as a new release, they tend, obviously, just the book on its own. Then it tends to be a little bundle, and then as the book kind of matures over its lifespan, it might end up with another bundle.
I love clicking on the new release. Sometimes you forget some of the stuff that's coming out soon. We've got the Jagdtiger coming out.
Oh,
that thing's so cool.
Plastic Jagdtiger.
Have you seen how big it is?
Yeah. Oh, I saw it. I saw it when it was in the studio. Before Darek got his hands on it.
Because it's weird, it feels, it sounds stupid, it's obviously saying, but it feels significantly bigger than the normal Tiger, because I've painted a Tiger before. Okay, so the book's up. Yeah, I imagine at some point there will be new stuff on that one.
Yeah.
Pack it in, £100 maybe with a couple extra boxes that'll be thematic forces, but nothing yet. Leslie Ian, any Blood Red Skies releases this year?
Probably.
Probably. If you're on the Ready Room, you'll have seen Derek's recently been working on some super special projects. And who could possibly say why he's working on the correct scaled HE 111s
and the weird and that weird 111's villing.
That's what I'm saying. If he's got that around,
if he's got that around,
maybe.
Then chances are,
I don't know when. I don't know if.
Yeah, basically, we don't know, but by the same token, that doesn't mean it's not happening, and it's more likely than not. So again, Blood Red Skies, don't panic. You're not getting discontinued.
In the same token, we got any Antares news. This will be the last question. Everyone's like, no more questions after this. Any Antares? Basically, everything takes a significant lead time to make stuff. I've heard rumors that there's some stuff coming out.
Yes.
Possibly. Oh my god, trouble this one. Possibly in plastic.
Yeah.
Those take a long time to make, so at some point I think there is some more stuff on the horizon for Antares. But Antares, the next big release, I think is going to be a big next release. It's not going to be, here's a box, here's a unit. It will be, here's a boom. We want to kind of, I think with a lot of our games, like Bolt Action's the exception, which I think sometimes colours the perception a little bit. Bolt Action, it's popular enough that we're always getting drip feed, but with our other games, it's going to be, we're going to do a season where we do a big lot of releases.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be something like that more than just...
And that's kind
here's a unit.
As a last bit,
thing.
That's kind of the advice I'd give. We are active in the community.
We know what you're up to.
Yeah, well, we see what people say. We see people getting frustrated with the lack of a release for their particular game.
A reminder that this has been the hell year.
Yeah, it's been. We had to completely rewrite our release schedule at least twice last year. Like literally everything had to be scrapped and rewritten and replanned, and then over the course of this year, we're then trying to catch up and do new stuff.
And obviously the studio is still working. So there's stuff on the way. Don't worry.
There's stuff on the way for basically everything. It is just a case of when it comes.
Yeah, I hope everyone's enjoyed. If you've enjoyed, please consider following us on the Twitch.
Yes.
This will be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow or the day after. If you think anyone might like this, then please share it with them or share the YouTube link. Until then, we'll see you next week. Just a bit quick bit of admin. Tell everyone if they're not in chat if you know them. Next Monday, we are not running. That is a bank holiday in the UK. We are running on the Tuesday, though.
Yes.
So Tuesday the 4th of May, not Monday the 3rd. Tuesday next week, me and Connor, the colleague who I was goading earlier, very shamelessly, me and him are playing a game of Victory at Seas. We don't have perfect forces to be historical. They were enemies, but they weren't in the same seas. We've got Kriegsmarine on his side against my US. I'm going to see if I can get my USS Essex and some planes painted up in time. So yeah, join in for that. Be first game stream for a couple of weeks. Hope you guys enjoy. And the week after that, we've got Gabriel of another sea fame. So have a great week, everyone. Stay safe.
And catch you next time.
See you then.